So when I had my first knee replacement, and yes, there's been 2 of them, there are those things that I wish I would have found out just a little bit earlier. It would have made things just a little bit easier. And that's what I want to talk to you about on this video today. So here's what we're going to cover. Understanding and respecting the timeline for your knee replacement recovery. We're also going to discuss the real life progression and what it actually looks like starting with week 1. Why healing is a full-time job. Why you're still healing 12 to 18 months later. And what that actually means. And then I've got one skill that you can learn that's gonna cover you through your entire recovery. That's the one you're gonna wanna stick around for. Let's talk about timeline first, because this is where a lot of people get tripped up quick. Knee replacement recovery is 12 to 18 months. And I know, but don't make that feel heavy. Because here's what's true. That first 3 months is where all the work is getting done. And from your incision all the way to the end, complete healing, that entire space is called the learning space. We're gonna come back to that phrase, the learning space, so keep that in the back of your mind. Let's talk about the real life progression, what it actually looks like, starting with that first week. Now, week 1, you are brand new to all of this. You are just now starting to figure out how to navigate that new knee and also navigate physical therapy at the same time. You're learning how to get around with a walker, learning how to use a walker. You're figuring out the shower now with a walker. Now, I didn't need a chair, but I really did have to think through how I was gonna make it over the threshold into the shower with my walker. Does the walker go in the shower? And how do I get the walker in and out of the shower? You're figuring out, how do you put on socks now? It sounds small, but it feels monumental when you're going through it. And just getting ready in the morning is going to wipe you out. And that's okay, because that's just where you are right now. Here's what to watch for in week 1. You may not be able to lift your leg into your bed. That's normal. I was not able to. My husband actually lifted my leg to get it into the bed. But let me tell you something. The first time you can lift that leg into your bed, probably maybe day 3, maybe day 10, depending on you, that is your first real milestone. Celebrate it. Write it down. Remember it. That really does matter. Now, the fatigue is real and it runs through all of it, but what you need to remember is you are healing. That does take a lot of energy. That's why healing is a full-time job. By week 2, you start to really understand that concept of a full-time job. And like any job, you get to show up for that. And here's what that means practically. What used to take you 5 minutes to do now takes you 30 minutes to do. And then you need a nap. I remember getting up, going to the closet, picking out some clothes, brushing my teeth, maybe running a brush through some freshly dry shampooed hair, and then maybe possibly getting it up into a ponytail, and that was it. Game over. I need a nap. But that's exactly why you need the nap, is because you just exerted energy and your body needed that for healing. So showing up for the job means getting ready for the day. Whatever that looks like to you, for me, it was dry shampoo, change of clothes, brushing my teeth, washing my face. That was it for like the first week. And then on PT days, I would take a shower. But this is why it's really interesting to note this particular time, because that progression in your healing builds in increments. That's what you need to pay attention to, because this is showing your healing stages. First, maybe you're just ready to get dressed and that's it. You need a nap. Second, maybe you get dressed and go make your breakfast. Then you need a nap. Then maybe it's getting dressed, going to make breakfast, and then going to PT, and then you need a nap. See how the progression goes? That is the progression of healing through your knee replacement. Each one of those is a win, an intangible one. Those are the ones that we don't measure by quantity. So make sure that you're recognizing those small wins too. Here's what nobody really prepares you for, and that is that PT actually gets heavier before it gets easier. Some people say harder, I say heavier. It starts gradually. Sometimes they just give you those gentle exercises at the beginning, so you're getting your bearings, learning how to move that leg again. And then one day your physical therapist actually actively helps you bend your knee. And you're like, wait, what's happening? But here's what you need to understand. You're on a race against scar tissue building. Your body does that naturally to help heal you. And PT is working against that to get your bend back and make sure your range of motion is complete. There's a clock, and your therapist knows that. Now, let me explain to you how this plays out when you get home. You go in, you have a great PT session, you've got great range of motion at that appointment. Go home, you feel accomplished, maybe a little sore, and that night, that's usually when that knee screams out. It's gonna wake you up. So you're gonna get up and you're gonna go to the living room, you're gonna put it up, you're gonna elevate it, you're gonna grab that ice pack or ice machine, and that's where you're gonna try and doze off again if you can. But the next day, that knee might be very swollen. Here's what I want you to hear from me. Still do your exercises. Just because it's swollen doesn't mean that you don't move it. Even swollen, that's the part of treat your recovery like a job. Look, and I understand this. Your numbers sometimes go backwards. That's what happened to me. This happens, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 6 weeks. For me, I was measuring about 113 one day at PT, and I felt really good about that. But the next time I went back to PT, I was at 105. I thought I lost my mind. I'm like, what happened? We just got all of that range. I thought I did something wrong. My physical therapist looked at me and said, yeah, it's normal. It's swollen. That's what happened. You give a little, it reacts, and then you get it back. And that, my friends, is what I call the cha-cha of recovery. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, you get the cha-cha. And that moment, you might start to see that road in front of you. It's not as short as you thought it was gonna be. You know when you're in Las Vegas and you look down the strip at another hotel and you're like, yeah, I can walk that. That's doable. And then you get to walk in and you make it past one hotel and you see that the next hotel that you've been trying to go to is really far away still. And that's when you realize you probably should have took the cab. That's knee replacement recovery. You think you can see the finish line. You think you know how long it's gonna take. And then you're in it and you realize this is actually the Las Vegas Strip. It's longer, it's bigger, and there's a lot more in between you and what you expected. And that's okay, because now you know. And knowing changes everything. Sleep disruption is something to get very familiar with at the very beginning. It happens as soon as you get home, right out the gate. Now, early on, your pain medication may knock you out. That part is manageable. Believe me, in those early days, it was like 5 days before I even dreamed of leaving the bedroom. I felt like I was in a catatonic state. By the 5th day, I was like, Suzie, get up and go into the living room. That's what I did. Because when you start trying to normalize your sleep pattern, you know, awake during the day, sleeping at night, that's when it can get frustrating and quick. This is exactly where that skill I'm gonna mention to you later on comes in really handy, especially if you're someone who's used to sleeping through the night. Here's why it happened. And this is actually the part I love, because it's a new perspective and it's how I wanted to see it going through my knee replacement. At night, everything in your body kind of shuts down, right? Because you're getting ready for sleep. Your digestion doesn't have to work. Your thinking brain doesn't have to work. So it redirects all of that energy into healing. And I wrote a blog about this because it reminded me of a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Imagine a little foreman showing up one night with his crew going to your knee. You've got the team in charge of blood vessels, the cell signaling crew, the nerve regeneration department. Everyone's clocking in at night at the same time, all while you're trying to sleep. And all of that activity wakes you up. And it's not that something's going wrong. Everything is actually going very right. Your body's doing what it's supposed to be doing. That's what's happening at the night shift. When everything else shuts down for the night, your body wakes up to go to healing. You could run right to there's something wrong. Now, that moment comes a little later when you start getting back into your normal day-to-day activities. You're gonna start to notice more swelling than you expected, more aches, maybe more zingers at night. Those are the little nerve zaps that kind of come out of nowhere. And here's the simple explanation for all of that. As you start increasing your activity and doing more, your knee is responding to more. And that's not a red flag, that's math, that's quantity. So I remember one night I was laying down and I was on my back, and it felt like there were ants crawling up and down my leg, on the side of my leg. It didn't wake me up. It was while I was laying there trying to fall asleep. It was just the oddest feeling, but I knew immediately that was just my nerves regenerating, my nerves firing back up. My doctor actually told me that these nerve sensations would happen. He didn't say they were gonna feel like ants, but he did tell me that the nerves fire, and when they do, it can cause little like burning sensation. So when it showed up, I could file it away instead of spiraling like something's wrong. So why do they say healing takes 12 to 18 months? And what does that actually mean? So here's the timeline reality broken down quite simply. Within 2 to 3 months, you're back to your regular activities, feeling pretty much back to yourself, back to your daily routines. By month 3, your range of motion and your extension should be completely back for most people. Not all people, but for most people. And through month 6, swelling and the stuff that nobody loves, zingers, aching, that can show up especially on high activity days. On months 6 through 18, those moments get further and further apart. What triggers it in those later months is going to be maybe a lot of stairs, maybe a longer walk, maybe even running, playing softball, any day where you're up and down a lot, and out of nowhere, a zinger, a random ache. And your brain immediately goes to something wrong. I'd love for you to practice going here first. Oh yeah, I just had a knee replacement. This can still be coming from that. That's it. That's the reframe. Keep that one in your back pocket. Now, at that 1 year mark, your doctor might call you back in for a checkup just to check on the joint, make sure that everything is still firing and everything's tracking along in your healing timeline. That's normal, and it's a very good thing. Now, here's the part that nobody talks about, and this is why I actually started talking about it. It is the messy middle, is what I like to call it. It deserves its own moment. This is roughly week 4 to month 6. This is a really long time frame. This is where you look fine on the outside, but nobody knows you're still in it. Your group of friends don't understand why you might still be having any issues with your knee, because that surgery was a long time ago, 3 months ago. And this is also where the comparison trap hits the hardest. Well, they're making it, they're doing it, they were able to do this at this far out. You might be innocently scrolling social media and see one of your friends that's out doing whatever at whatever month when you're at your month and you're still fill in the blank. I need you to hear this. There is no good fruit that comes from you comparing yourself to anybody. Comparison is literally like eating bad fruit. It's no nutritional value, it doesn't satisfy you, and it leaves you feeling worse than before. That's exactly what starts happening when you measure yourself and your recovery against somebody else's. Now, my friend, let me give you the one skill that's going to carry you through your entire recovery. You stayed for this one. All the way through this video, I've been mentioning this skill. This is what I want you to hear. The space between where you start and where you finish the entire recovery, that's called the learning space. Now, I learned about the learning space from an audio from Father Mike Schmidt, who was talking about Dr. Becky Kennedy, who's a clinical psychologist from Columbia University. She talks about the learning space in the context of resilience. And when I heard it, I couldn't stop thinking about how it perfectly applies to knee replacement recovery and really anything in life. It's describing the area between the place you start and the place you end, which she refers to as the learning space. I also call it the messy middle. It's the same place. The thing to remember about the learning space is it predominantly houses only one emotion, and that emotion is frustration. So the skill that you can adapt is to keep telling yourself that you're in the learning space and you're discovering what recovery looks like for you. You're on your own timeline. Your healing doesn't look like anybody else's healing. And when you can release the comparison and stay in the learning space, you're gonna save yourself a whole bunch of stress. The other part of this skill is actually journaling. I advise you to write everything down, the messy stuff, the good stuff, the not so good stuff, the things that you don't see as good, the things that feel ugly, and also the things that feel like win, because that journal actually becomes your real comparison. It's you against you, yesterday versus today, and you will see progress there that you cannot see anywhere else. Lots and lots of intangible wins. And you have them all written in your handwriting. When you can build the skill of self-compassion and reassuring yourself that you're in the learning space, that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, it's gonna go a long way in your healing. That's the skill. That's the one that I want you to hold on to. Now, this video should have given you a better picture of what the recovery timeline actually looks like. And yes, it's long. But now you know a lot of that healing takes place early on. And the rest is you simply learning what your recovery looks like. And that's what I'm here to do too, to give you a calmer, more confident knee replacement recovery. You would like the resource for post-op where I talk about Dr. Becky's learning space and I actually share her video. Look in the description and grab it for yourself. And if you want to hear my full story, that video dropped last week. I'll link it right here. And don't forget to subscribe because there's a whole lot more coming.